Welcome to Shadowproof. Evidence first, noise last.
Humans rely on various forms of life to exist on Earth. However, some of us appear human on the outside but are actually other beings. An American physicist specializing in research on marriages between aliens and humans has discovered at least 1,000 such cases. He even claimed that the rate of Americans marrying aliens could be as high as 50%. Although this research result sounds unbelievable, an unsolved case in the US in 2015 made people reconsider this issue. On July 17, 2015, a group of police gathered near Palisades Avenue, California, USA, after a resident discovered a long decomposed body in an SUV. Through an investigation, the victim was identified as a man named Jeffrey Lors, who had been dead for about 2 weeks. The police then went to Jeffrey's house to investigate, and as soon as they entered, they were all stunned. The house was filled with various types of guns, estimated at about 1,200 firearms, over 6 tons of ammunition, and 230,000. How could an ordinary person have so many weapons? It's important to know that purchasing this amount of weaponry would cost at least $5 million. So what was Jeffrey's true identity? While no one had any clues about this man, Jeffrey's fiancée, Catherine, appeared. Logically, after discovering her missing fiancé, she should have reported it immediately. However, Catherine did not do so. She waited exactly 2 weeks until Jeffrey's body was discovered. Then, through her defense attorney, Harlan Braun, revealed shocking information to the police. It turned out that 2 weeks earlier, she and a friend had tried to save Jeffrey in his car. But in the end, Jeffrey still died, and the two left him in the car and went to Oregon. Catherine's reason for doing this was very strange. Before he died, Jeffrey told her that after he died, she should leave him there, not worry, because someone from the intelligence agency would come to handle it. As a result, Catherine followed his instructions, as she always believed her fiancé had a special identity. He wasn't entirely human but was an alien hybrid working as a CIA agent, specializing in helping the government carry out secret missions related to saving you. Externally, Jeffrey was forced to conceal his true identity under the name Al Smith. Catherine also revealed some of Jeffrey's strange habits. She said, whether due to his special identity or not. But whenever he saw glasses, Jeffrey would get very angry. When dining out with Catherine, he always paid in cash. Moreover, each time he used different cars. Jeffrey owned 12 cars. And it was said that one of them was worth $100,000 and had bulletproof functions. Perhaps because she was accustomed to such an unusual life, Catherine firmly believed that her fiancé's body would be handled as he said. However, 2 weeks later, Jeffrey's body was still there and had decomposed. This left her utterly astonished. Too much documentation about Jeffrey, His mother was a piano teacher and his father was a microbiologist. In 1972, he dropped out of the University of California, Los Angeles, but soon left school again. It's possible that around that time, Jeffrey began using one or more fake names and profiles to carry out secret work for the US government. To this day, Jeffrey's identity remains a mystery. Neighbors only felt he was an eccentric person. The police discovered he had many lovers and believed he might be a romance scammer, cheating money from some people to live luxuriously. And that pile of guns might simply be his collection. The story about Jeffrey sounds mythical. This inevitably makes people think, if he was just a fraud, why use such an unbelievable alien hybrid story to justify it? Of course, some people believed Jeffrey had a delusional disorder and deceived himself. But could alien hybrids actually exist? In recent decades, many places around the world have reported people being abducted by aliens. Previously, we talked about Stan Romanek, who was abducted by aliens 11 times. He claimed to be the father of 9 alien hybrid children. He also said those children live on another planet in the universe. Such incidents don't only happen to men. Women being abducted seem to be even more common. In 2009, a 40-year-old Italian woman named Giovanna said on television That's since she was 4 years old. She had been abducted by aliens. Later, she even became pregnant with an alien child. Initially, after being abducted, Giovanna lost part of her memory. Later, through hypnosis, she remembered seeing a UFO hovering in the sky, but didn't remember how she got inside it. She only remembered floating and being surrounded by 4 alien creatures. They used telepathy to tell Giovanna not to move, and she wouldn't be in danger. That day, Giovanna underwent a physical examination like a lab rat, and had tissue and blood samples taken. Some scars and a strange fluorescent substance were left on her body. She said this fluorescent substance was a material on her skin that the aliens used to control her body, and it also served as thermal insulation. When technicians came to Giovanna's room to take samples, they indeed found this substance on her skull. Laboratory analysis revealed that the molecules of this substance were highly active, generating a huge magnetic field. But Giovanna basically couldn't have done this at home. Giovanna also went to the hospital for a health check, where they discovered an implant in her brain. But tests showed it was impossible to determine what it actually was. Body but couldn't. However, this invisible fetus caused some complications for Giovanna. The doctors decided to perform a standard abortion procedure on. Unexpectedly, after the surgery, they successfully delivered a fetus that had limbs, but its shape was fundamentally inhuman. This terrified both the doctors and Giovanna herself. Giovanna said the aliens had told her their species was facing extinction and needed human help to reproduce and maintain their lineage. So Giovanna was also convincing herself that she had done a good deed by helping them. But after this fetus was born, she felt it was just a monster. Aaron. Kim grew up in a Christian environment and moved from the American Midwest to California after high school graduation. Recalling her abduction by aliens, she said on the night she was taken, after waking from a dream, she found herself not in bed but in a space like an elevator. Shortly after, she was taken to a place resembling a hospital examination room. She saw many people lying unconscious on tables, and those who brought her there were small gray beings with very large eyes. Kim was extremely frightened and screamed, after which she was knocked unconscious. As she gradually regained consciousness, Kim found herself on a table, with the small gray beings extracting some skin tissue from her collarbone and then injecting something into her nostrils, causing her to lose consciousness again. Kim felt like a piece of meat on a chopping board at others' mercy. However, such abductions didn't happen just once. In her vague memories, Kim recalled having a fetus implanted in her body, which was later removed. Until one time, Kim was taken to a small room where the small gray beings brought in a little girl. This girl was about 2 years old, with beautiful blonde hair and blue eyes, but her gaze was unusually cold. This girl is very beautiful, ISN. Kim said she is a highly educated woman. She knew that revealing this to society would face much criticism. Even she herself found it hard to accept. But this was a truth she couldn't change. If these stories are true, then I boldly speculate that women pregnant with alien hybrids like Giovanna and Kim might be more numerous than we imagine. They seen online there. Members of the organization range in age from 19 to 60. Their experiences are basically similar. Women in this organization believe the reason aliens procreated hybrid children with them was to create a more loving human-alien hybrid race. Like Aluna Voss, a girl from Arizona who said she had 4 sons and 6 daughters with aliens. She even drew the appearances of these children. Most looked human, just with extremely large eyes. They all lived on spaceships. Although relatives and friends think these women are too crazy, turning their imaginations into reality, they themselves believe these are real events that actually happened. Dr. John Ha from Wisconsin University conducted a comprehensive analysis of human DNA spanning thousands. After analysis, he discovered that human DNA has undergone tremendous changes over the past 5,000 years. This rate of change is 100 times faster than any other 5,000-year period in history. This gives humans much to ponder. What events has humanity experienced over the past 5,000 years? Some theorists speculate that over the past 5,000 years, aliens may have interbred with humans, leading to major changes in humanity's DNA structure. So what is the truth? Hypnotist Doris Cannon once performed past life regression therapy on a woman named Bet. Bet had known Mrs. Cannon for many years and was always interested in her work. Out of curiosity, Bet experienced her first past life regression session. Mrs. Cannon didn't have high expectations, as most past life regression cases involve difficult lives. But surprisingly, Bet's identity revealed an astonishing piece of history. Cannon later recorded this story in her 1994 book about aliens. During the hypnosis session, Bet clearly described her past life as a young man named Twain. Twain was a hunter living in a small tribe in Alaska, Canada, during the period before the Eskimos appeared. Although life was primitive back then, men and women had reasonable division of labor and lived harmoniously. Their tribe believed they were the only people on Earth, as they had never encountered anyone else. Mrs. Cannon asked a few questions to determine what era Twain lived in, such as how they cooked. Bet answered that they often used pottery and knew how to use knives to cut meat into small pieces. This showed their tribe lived simply but not too primitively. Bet's subsequent accounts were quite strange. She talked about a pot reserved only for the wisest people, shiny like metal and very hard. Sometimes the pot was reddish yellow, other times it was black. Legend said that everything in the tribe was left behind by elders from far away. These elders came by ship from a dark place. But an accident occurred, the ship was destroyed and there was much metal inside. Later, people in the tribe used this metal to make knives and pots. Mrs. Cannon noticed Bet was describing events from Twain's perspective. His way of speaking became simpler. Mrs. Cannon immediately asked if the legend described the appearance of the elders. Twain said they looked like us, but taller, with white skin and wheat-colored hair. Moreover, they could perform miraculous deeds. Initially they wore silver-white clothing, but after they passed away, people in the tribe buried their clothing along with their bodies. So those clothes no longer exist. In other words, after the accident, some of them survived and stayed to live. At that time, people in the tribe were few, with appearances like Twain, black hair, tan skin, and somewhat short. Twain also said the original elders couldn't adapt well. They felt this place was heavy, the ground was vast, and the sun was dazzling. The first winter they experienced was very difficult because there wasn't much food stored on the ship. Tea warm enough, many people didn't. Moreover, they couldn't bear children. Legend says that even if children were born, they didn't live long. Later, with the help of the tribe's ancestors, the elders began to integrate and adapt to Earth. This is precisely the origin of the tribe. As tribe members are all descendants of the elders in the tribe. The legacy left by the elders is also very interesting. Legend says that animals once could speak like humans, so hunters felt troubled every time they went hunting. First, they had to apologize to the animals, telling them they had no choice. They needed to survive, and asking if they could take their meat. The tribe also regulated that hunters couldn't overhunt, because animals also needed to reproduce to maintain their species, and they had reached it. To make hunters feel more comfortable, the gods took away the animals' ability to speak, and to let the animals know that the hunters still remembered this agreement. To this day in Thuling's generation, before hunting, hunters still apologize, as if the animals could still speak. These are all digressions now. But the story of X returning bloodline is as long as a book. We won't go into further details. Through the story Betch told, we can mainly understand that elders most likely came from distant stars. Based on their description of the elders, these people were most likely Paladin aliens, who were forced to stay on Earth because their spaceship crashed. However, living conditions on Earth were too harsh, making it difficult for them and their newborn children to adapt. Over time, this alien race, together with the indigenous people, produced offspring. and later generations fully adapted to life on Earth, continuing to multiply thereafter. The era of Thuen's ancestors was very long ago, with very few people. And by Thuen's generation, everyone was no longer pure-blooded humans. We can assume that, in each person's body, more or less, alien genes still remain. But the proportion of Earth human genes still predominates, which is why they couldn't act. Such a hypothesis is actually not unreasonable, and even matches a certain study. In 2010, Salter Feifel, a biologist at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany, published an astonishing discovery. He pointed out that early humans not only coexisted with other primitive people on Earth, but also interbred with them. What surprised many people even more was that human DNA might also come from another species of unknown origin. So who is this species of unknown origin? Here is a very noteworthy point. That is, the elders in Thuen's story, namely the Pleiadian aliens we are speculating about, are very different from the alien abduction cases we often hear about. Different alien beings come to Earth with different purposes. In many alien abduction cases, most involve small gray-cat aliens. Their treatment of humans is quite brutal. However, the Pleiadian aliens come from a world with appearances resembling fairies. Their way of interacting with humans is also more civilized. We can boldly speculate that, generally, the aliens we know lack human emotions. Although Earth's technology is inferior to theirs. But considering various cases, YNET has proven that the human body has some characteristics they lack, and also something they desire to obtain. Therefore, such kidnappings always occur. However, no matter what alien civilized, whether advanced or barbaric, no matter how advanced their technology is, they still exist in this universe. Just like us, they also have to follow the laws of the universe, and cannot cause chaos. At least that's my understanding. I wonder what everyone thinks about this. Thank you for watching. If you want, you can subscribe to watch the next videos. Or if you have time, you can watch more videos on this channel.
If the proof convinced you, subscribe and open the next case.